Welcome to REL 2300. My name is Dr. S. Lloyd Walters, and I will be your instructor this semester for this World Religions class. Here's some important class information that I'd like to share with you to help you to be successful in this class. First of all, you need to read the syllabus. The syllabus is very important. You're going to be governed by everything that you find in that syllabus. Secondly, I'm going to talk about the grading of our class. And our grading is very unique, very important, so that you might be able to successfully get a good grade in this class. We will have discussions throughout the semester. I think we have 25 discussion groups that we're going to go through, and that is going to make up a significant portion of your grade. And I suggest that as soon as the class begins, you start participating in our discussions. We'll talk about that a little later. Now, you're going to have 3 writing assignments and 4 vocabulary assignments. And the formatting for your writing assignments will be very, very important. And to some degree, the vocabulary assignments won't have the same type of rigorous requirements, but they should. All of our assignments require a heading, and I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. There is some writing assistance that you can get. Some of you might need some help with your assignments, especially your writing assignments, and there are ways for you to get some assistance, some help, some tutoring on your writing. I won't be able to do much of that for you, and it's important that you do well in your writing assignments because your grades depend a lot on what you do with your vocabulary and your writing assignments. Some of you may have some difficulty with an online course. This may be your first time in an online environment, or even if you're in a mixed mode class, you still have to use the online tools to be able to turn in your assignments. And so there are some uploading requirements that I want you to be aware of. We're going to talk about that. And then at the end, I want to suggest that even if you find yourself struggling at near the end of the course, or having a difficulty or some situation come up where you may not be able to turn in an assignment, don't give up. Don't throw your hands up and say, oh no, I failed and so on, and I just got to give up. No, don't give up, because there will be opportunities for you to try to at least get some of those late or missed assignments in. And so we'll talk about that also at the end of this video. So let's start with the grading. We're going to talk about how the grading is for this class. First of all, I do not use a point system. I use a weighted average. And so there's certain groups of assignments that carry greater weight than other assignments. And so you need to be aware of how important certain assignments are so that you might be able to govern yourself accordingly. First of all, I've grouped our vocabulary and our tests together, and they make up 60% of your grade. Don't miss your tests and turn in those vocabulary assignments, because that's 60% of your final grade. So make sure you take all of the tests that come, and they come maybe every 3 weeks or so. And your vocabulary assignments also are approximately 3 weeks apart, and they're the Friday before each test. We have 2 short writing assignments, one at the beginning of the semester and another near the end of the semester. I should mention that our first short writing assignment, you do not need the book. I supply you with all of the reading material and some videos to watch, so that you don't really need the textbook to do the first writing assignment. And so I will send you in an email, if I haven't already done it, with all of the material you need to write that first short writing assignment, so you can actually finish that assignment before class even starts. And so make sure you get those assignments in. And then there's, near the end of the semester, about 2/3 of the way through, we have a long writing assignment. Now notice that the two short writing assignments make up 10% of your grade. The long writing assignment makes up 20%, meaning if you do not turn in that long writing assignment, you cannot get above 80% for this class. So that means that it can keep you from getting an A if you don't turn that in. It's a very important paper. It's significant as far as points are concerned. And so you need to get that in. So I'd suggest that you start as early as possible to get that done, and try to do your very best. Now, before you have to turn in your final paper, I will give you an opportunity to turn in your first draft, and I will give you suggestions as to how to improve your paper. All right? So if you choose to, you can turn in a draft, and I'll suggest some things about how you can improve your paper so I can do as much as I can to help you make a good grade on that long writing assignment. And the last area that we have are weekly discussion groups. Our discussion groups begin the very first week. And I'll explain to you what the requirements are for your weekly discussion groups, okay? So let's start off with our discussion requirements, all right? Once again, it makes up 10% of your final grade. Now, there's some rules and some requirements for these discussion groups. First of all, you have to turn in at least 4 posts, all right? Your first post is an original post that responds to the question that is asked for that post, all right? And so you have to do that. And then you have to have 3 substantive responsive posts. You can't just simply say, great job, or I agree. That's not substantive. You need to really read and engage with your classmates. These discussions is a way of learning where you collaborate with your classmates, all right? You must do 3 substantive posts in addition to an original post for a total of at least 4 posts to get full credit for each one of these discussions, all right? Some weeks you'll have 2, some weeks you'll have 3, but you'll never have more than 3 during the week to be able to do or having to turn in discussions. And so I suggest that you please, I have a lot of students that just kind of blow off the discussions, and that's not wise, because that takes a whole 10% off your grade. And so it hurts you. All right. And so those are the requirements for our discussion groups. Now I want to talk about our writing assignments. I want to talk about formatting. I grade for your formatting. If you don't follow the directions we require for your formatting of our assignments, you lose points. And most of our students don't lose points for the substance and the essay. It's for the formatting. And so I've come up with a strategy to try to help you. All right. First of all, we have a 1-page essay, and I'm going to show you how it looks. This is how it looks. And when I say 1 page, I literally mean 1 page. And so you'll have to work hard at editing down what you're trying to say to 1 page. All right. If it spills over, you lose points. A 1-page essay. So you've got to get quickly to the point you're trying to make and then conclude. And don't forget to put works cited. You need to tell me where you get your ideas from. Now, for the first assignment, I supply you with 3 separate articles that you can use. You could use those articles as your works cited. But every assignment, including the long writing assignment, which I'll talk about in a moment, must have citations. Where did you get your ideas from? Don't just give me your opinion. Your opinion must be supported by legitimate sources. All right? And so that's what the 1-page essay should look like. We have a long essay, And it's a little bit different. And I'm going to show you how it's different uh, from the short writing assignment. Obviously, the long writing assignment, which is 3 to 5 pages long, you will notice that on the one-page essay, you have your works cited at the bottom of the page. But on the long essay, that first page does not have anything works cited. You can put the works cited at the end of the document on a separate page. Make sure you do at least 3 full pages of copy. You'll notice that there's certain other requirements and they look very similar. You'll notice the header on both of these. I've designed a header for you where it's a single space and everything else is double space. So on both essays, both assignments, they're double spaced. The font is 12 point Times New Roman. Don't don't give me some other font because that'll cost you. Now, the reason I'm doing this, we're using a revised sort of MLA format. And from now, for the rest of your college career, most of your papers will be typed in Times New Roman 12 point. And so you need to know how to format and to do your papers in this format. And I'm trying to get you started so that you'll know going forward, this is what your paper's supposed to look like. It must have a heading. And if you look in your syllabus, and if you look at the templates that I'm going to show you in just a moment, I've already kind of formatted your heading for you. Okay? You must have works cited, as I've mentioned before. Now, on the one-page essay, it can only be one page. It cannot spill over. So that means you've got to choose your words wisely. You can't put a lot of fluff in there, and you have to edit it down to one page. Your works cited must be on the same page. Unlike the long essay, it will not be there. And your heading must be single spaced, and the syllabus and the template will show you what's supposed to be in your header. And there's no title page for either one of these assignments, okay? Now I'm going to show you a little bit, and finally on the one-page essay, since it's only one page, obviously you don't need a page number. Now let me show you what the supplied templates look like for the short writing assignment and for the long writing assignment. First, let me show you where to find your template, all right? Your template is on the assignment page, and right here, I've provided you a Word document with the sample one-page essay. All you need to do is type up what you want to write and cut and paste your copy and edit that template to fit it. It's already formatted. Your paragraphs are formatted. Everything's done for you. And so if you choose to do your own thing and you lose points and stuff, that's on you. But I'm giving you a template where it's pre-formatted. You don't have to look for it. All right, that's for the one-page essay. I've got that set up for you already. All right, and for the long writing assignment, I have a multiple-page essay template. It's right there on that page. You click on that, download the template, and then you can type up in a separate file and then cut and paste or copy and paste into your copy or your essay into the template. So there's no excuse to not get a good grade on your paper, at least from the standpoint of your formatting. And I've had problems with my students formatting, and I've tried to come up with a lot of different ways to try to help my students to at least not have problems with their formatting. All right? All right. Now, Valencia College has provided assistance. There's a thing called smart tutoring or smart thinking. And there's also a place on campus where you can get help with your writing. And especially for students that English is their second language, sometimes you might need a little bit of help with your writing. And if you're a dual enrollment student or if you haven't done a lot of writing, take advantage of the things that Valencia provides for you, all of the advantages. And if you have questions about that, email me and I'll direct you to where you can find. Even online students can get help with their writing. That's okay. And so there's writing help also in the East Campus Library if you're connected to our campus. And so if you can get ahead of the game and start early enough, you can get some help with your writing, and they will tutor you, help you to make a good grade on your writing assignments. That means, so we have 3 writing assignments in our class, and there's no reason to not do well. It's only 2 one-page essays and then a 3 to 5 page essay, and they're not hard. You can do it. All right, moving on. There is a way that you're supposed to do your submissions. I only accept Word documents or PDF files, and you cannot turn in handwritten assignments. I've had students turn that in, and you have to turn in typed assignments in the Word as a Word file or a PDF file. And then when you turn it in, you do it on file upload. You see it right here. I'll show you. That's how you turn in your assignments. That's how you submit them. All right. And so you have to choose your file, download the file, and then you submit your assignment that way. That way I can show you, I can do some markups on the paper if I need to show you some things that you need to improve or some notes that I might put on your paper. All right? And that's how you upload your assignments. The last thing I want to tell you is I don't want you to give up. I know that sometimes some students may get a late start. Maybe something happened, you have a death in the family, or something goes wrong in your living situation, and you miss an assignment or are late getting something in, or whatever may happen. I don't want you to give up. Let me give you some helpful tips. If you miss an assignment, or if you didn't get it in on time, I leave all of my writing and vocabulary assignments open after the due date. So if you're going to see a 0 come up, because that comes up automatically if it's not been turned in Canvas. But don't settle for a 0. If you've had a problem, email me, let me know. It's possible I might waive the any late penalty, but turn it in. Even if it was just something, you just neglected to do it, turn it in. Don't let that 0 just sit on your grade. If it's available, and it will be if a writing assignment or a vocabulary assignment is still available, turn it in late. There probably will be a late penalty if you don't have a legitimate excuse, like you've gotten sick or something like that. But get it in. Now, discussions and pretests are not opened up after they're closed. You only have a week to turn in those discussions. And if you don't turn it in on time and you find that that the discussions are closed, and I should mention that discussions close at midnight or 11:59 on Saturday night. All right? Saturday nights is when discussions close. And so if you wait till after then, you can't go back in and post anything after the discussion or the pretest is closed. I have pretests every week also. All right. So do your best to try to, within that week period, to get your discussions in. All right. We want you to have a great semester. Most of my students get good grades in my class because we structure it so that it's not hard. There are some things there's some work you have to do. There's no question about it. However, if you follow the schedule, if you follow my advice, it's pretty almost guaranteed. Almost there are people that fail my class because they don't turn in and don't do their work. But for the majority, I'm saying 80 to 90% of my students make good grades in my class, and I know you can too. And so I want you to have a great semester, and I want you to get a good grade in this class. All right? Hopefully, if you have any questions, email me in Canvas, and I'll do everything in my power to help you succeed in this class.